So between, Exorcist Believer being an absolute dumpster fire of a movie, and also with the fact that, Mike Flanagan's Exorcist movie has been, apparently, it's not been confirmed, but Universal took it off their schedule for next year. So I imagine, also Flanagan's doing Carrie and a few other projects in 2026. So I imagine 2027, 2028 is when we'll get Mike Flanagan's Blumhouse Exorcist film. Which that I hope, if that can't be saved, that if Mike Flanagan can't fix the Exorcist franchise, then no more Then I don't think we should ever do an Exorcist movie ever again. Or just leave the property alone, because Believer is arguably the second worst Exorcist movie ever. I say second because it can't be I don't care what anyone says. Exorcist 2 is the worst Exorcist movie. Let's not even kid ourselves. Believer is second, but Heretic is the worst. Let's not even go about that. Let's not even question that. So what we're going to be talking about here today is basically my pitch for an Exorcist film. My pitch for an Exorcist film, even though, yes, I think I did do a video yesterday talking about how The Exorcist is basically an important film, but I personally think I personally have my misgivings about it, but I understand the importance of Exorcist as a film. If I was to make a Mount Rushmore of horror movies, it would be Psycho, Jaws, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and The Exorcist. Those I think are the four most important horror movies in cinema history. But anyway, I digress. So this is going to be basically my pitch for an Exorcist movie. This is just kind of my pitch for what I would like to do with an Exorcist film. Anyway, so let's get started with the pitch. So the story actually is kind of a period piece. This would be kind of like The Exorcist 1.1 in a way. Essentially what it is that we're not even going to regard Exorcist 2. That's going to be thrown out of the way. This is going to be this is the true Exorcist 2. Essentially what it is that this is set 3 years after the events of Reagan's possession. And essentially what has happened is that the Vatican has done really goddamn hard to bury that case. They essentially were nope, didn't happen. No, sir, nothing of note really happened. It was all an illusion. It was all a fake. So you can go about your lives and, not worry about anything. It's totally fine. Everything's fine here. Isn't everything fine? Praise Jeebus. But that did the cover-up of Reagan's possession. Essentially what happened next was that it caused a fracture. It basically caused a big fracture within the Vatican, and a lot of priests of why did we cover this? Some priests were yeah, it was if people found out that the devil was real, do you know what? We're already living in kind of turbulent times right now, and we're basically the Catholic Church is trying to hang on. And then there's the other half of that argument where why did it that would, if there's an existence of hell, then that proves heaven is real. And there are other priests who are saying maybe it's best that we would that drive people away from the church if people knew that hell was real? Or other priests would be no, it would drive them more to us. If they knew demons were real, then obviously they would put two and two together that angels are real and God's real, so they would come to us. And then there's also that argument of, well, what if it drives them further? What if it drives them people so far away that they believe that maybe the devil will give them power? So it's it basically caused a mini fissure within the church. So now we follow a young priest. I don't really have a name, but this priest is basically he's been put into exorcism service, and essentially they really want this is the exorcism stuff is kind of put on hush hush because no one really knew what happened in the Reagan house. Like I said, the Vatican tried really hard to bury what happened in that house. But the thing of it is you can't really they just basically said Father Karras had an accident and Father Marin like it was an unfortunate accident, and that Marin had a heart attack while giving spiritual comfort to Reagan, and Karras had an accident, because they all saw it. Like, there were so many people, but again, like, people would say like, oh, was it a possession, was it like demonic possession, and it led to people like questioning that, yeah, it was probably a possession, or it was an exorcism gone wrong. And it also made, like, the other reason why the church wants to cover it up is because two priests died, and a little kid was emotionally scarred. Not only a little kid, but the kid of a very important actress who wanted to tell her story. So, like I said, we go back to, this is basically like, these exorcists are kind of working like off the cuff, and not only that, because they're like, yeah, if Reagan can get possessed, then other shit can happen too. I basically would like to do a story where it's like dealing with, this movie is more about really talks about like faith, and also like the true aftermath, rather than with Exorcist 3, which is, as you guys know, the Exorcist 3 is my favorite of the Exorcist films, but it is basically Exorcist 3 is basically like the one that deals with the real fallout of the film. So here this is like 3 years later, and we're still dealing with the fallout of it, because like two priests died. The kid of a very important actress and said actress were left scarred, and they got the fuck out of Dodge. And the church is kind of like trying to figure, like, they don't know what their next step is, and they still don't know what it's like. So this young priest, who's part of this new like exorcism group, they're not like Black Ops or anything. It's just more like, you're going to be trained as an exorcist, but keep it on the down low. We don't want to draw attention. Just say you're there for spiritual comfort. So this young priest is put on a new case that is very similar to Reagan's. Like, that's the whole thing, is that in here, the Reagan, he sees a lot of similarities with the Reagan case, and believes that this is the same demon, Pazuzu, that possessed Reagan. And he wants to learn more about the Reagan files, and learn about the Reagan possession, and also, with Damien Karras. And this is where I'd actually tie into Exorcist 3. I would straight up tie into Exorcist 3 with this one, is that, yeah, we tried to find we tried to recover Karras's body from the morgue. It's gone. We don't know where what happened to Karras's body. The priest that was there, whose friend gave last rites and everything, and followed the body to the morgue. But when they got to the morgue, the body was gone. So that would be like a fun tease to Exorcist, to Exorcist 3. Like, that would be like, yeah, we're putting Exorcist 3 Legion in canon, and say, because yeah, the Gemini killer, Pazuzu, put the Gemini killer's soul in Karras's body, and left him and put him like in a catatonic state in the mental asylum for about 2 decades, and then we get in 1990 Exorcist 3. I say that as like an Exorcist 3 fan, but yeah, more or less the film would progress into more of a darker horror story, and it's a dark mystery story of again, the main theme is faith, and how do people utilize it. And this would also utilize the whole thing of this possession, which would be a small boy. Pazuzu would be Pazuzu wouldn't have a plan. It's just, I'm possessing them, and also I'm here to continue my work on Earth. Do you really think Reagan was going to be it? So that would be the whole story. So that's kind of my pitch for that's kind of my loose pitch for an Exorcist movie. But you guys tell me in the comments below, what do you guys think of this pitch, and what would your pitch be for an Exorcist film? Just comment below, let me know. Other than that, hope y'all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in Multiverse.